The Thief Princess. The coastal kingdom of Oakhaven was drowning in silence. High above the cobblestone streets, Princess Anya stepped onto the cold stone ledge of the palace roof. She was not looking for adventure, nor was she seeking trouble. She was looking for hope, locked away in her own father's vault, ready to take back what the kingdom had lost. Her father, King Stephen, had locked away the kingdom's ancient magic after the Great Winter, believing it caused their hardships. But Anya knew the truth. Without the gentle glow of the star silk dust, the town's crops were failing, and the people's spirits were breaking. She slipped through the high window, her eyes fixed on the glowing vault. The light from the vial warmed her hands, a sweet reminder of the stories her mother used to tell. But the warmth was instantly cut short by the sharp metallic echo of a closing door. Anya froze as a long shadow stretched across the floor. The young captain of the guard stood right in her path. Captain Kalen raised his lantern, his gaze shifting from Anya to the glowing vial in her hand. Anya braced herself for his whistle to alert the guards. Instead, Kalen lowered the light, his expression turning from stern duty to quiet understanding. He knew the kingdom was fading just as well as she did. Kalen didn't shout. He walked to a hidden wood panel in the wall and pushed it open, revealing a dusty passage leading toward the lower town. He handed her an old map of the kingdom's forgotten shrines. He couldn't join her, but he wasn't going to stand in her way either. By the time the first light of dawn touched the horizon, Anya had reached the outer edge of the Whispering Woods. The trees were bare and grey, showing the deep chill that had gripped Oakhaven for years. According to the map, the first ancient shrine lay deep within the frozen thicket. The frost grew thicker as Anya walked deeper into the forest, but the warm vial in her hands kept the bitter cold at bay. Up ahead, half buried under frozen ivy, she spotted the stone arches of the first ancient shrine. It looked forgotten, sleeping under a heavy blanket of winter, waiting for someone to wake it up. As the vial touched the stone, the golden light spilled over, rushing into the cracks like warm water. The frozen ivy melted away instantly, and a sudden wave of warmth rippled through the frozen ground. Beneath her feet, the first green sprouts of spring began to push through the thawing soil. Back at the palace, King Stephen stared out the tall window. He noticed the distant forest shifting from gray to a faint, lively green. A sudden flash of worry crossed his tired face. Turning around, he saw the empty vault door swinging open. He realized his daughter was gone, and she had taken the past with her. As Anya followed the path from the forest, she noticed the transformation spreading behind her. The warmth from the first shrine was traveling through the soil like a running river. But the map showed 2 more shrines remained hidden across Oakhaven. To save her home completely, she had to reach the seaside cliffs before sundown. Back at the palace, the atmosphere was tense. King Stephen had ordered the guard to search every corner of the estate for the princess. Captain Kalen stood by the main gates, deliberately directing the search parties toward the western valleys, safely away from the eastern trail Anya had taken into the woods. By mid-afternoon, Anya reached the second shrine, built into the base of a roaring waterfall. Inside a wet stone alcove, she found the repository for the sea silk magic. When she placed her hand on the damp stone, a deep blue luminescence burst forth, clearing the muddy waters of the river and sending fresh currents toward the sea. The sun was dipping low, casting long golden shadows across the coastal rocks. Anya climbed the steep trail toward the third and final shrine overlooking the sea. Her legs ached and her breath was shallow, but the sight of the gray, listless ocean below pushed her forward. The heart of Oakhaven's magic was just within reach. At the peak of the cliff stood the final shrine, a beautiful stone archway framing the setting sun. Anya approached the altar, but as she reached for the vial, she realized the final lock didn't require golden dust. It required a piece of true, selfless love. She looked down at her late mother's silver ring. With a heavy but resolute heart, Anya placed the silver ring into the center of the stone altar. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a brilliant, warm pink and gold light burst from the shrine, shooting up into the sky like a beacon. The spell of the great winter was finally broken, releasing the kingdom's trapped vitality. The powerful wave of light slowly faded, leaving behind a sky painted in soft shades of purple and gold. Anya stood quietly before the altar, watching the stone bird sculpture gently crumble into sparkling dust. The ancient magic had returned to the land, but her hands felt heavy and empty without her mother's silver ring. As Anya began her long walk back down the cliffside trail, she heard the sound of heavy footsteps echoing against the rocks ahead. She froze, pulling her dark cloak tightly around her shoulders. A group of royal guards emerged from the shadows of the path, and leading them was her father, King Stephen. The guards immediately stepped back as the king approached his daughter. Anya braced herself for his anger, but as King Stephen looked around at the vibrant green hills and the clear blue sea, his stern expression completely melted away. He looked at Anya's empty hands and realized exactly what she had sacrificed to save his people. The journey back to the palace was quiet, but everything had changed. King Stephen stood before his council, not with anger, but with an open heart. He realized that the ancient magic was never a curse, but a gift to be protected. With Anya by his side, he resolved to rule Oakhaven with trust instead of fear. Oakhaven was alive once more. Under the bright silver moonlight, the town below hummed with music and laughter as the people celebrated the return of the spring. King Stephen walked onto the balcony and placed a beautiful new silver ring into Anya's hand, a token of a new beginning for the princess who chose to save her kingdom.